get started here. All right. Okay, so today what we're going to be going through is the transactions by basically zipForms. Lone Wolf purchased it, and they changed the name to Transactions by zipForms Edition. So it's going to be, the same thing that you've always known. It's just under new ownership now. So they kind of tweaked the name a bit. So today we're going to be going through really just checking your information and making sure that it's up to date, because I know some people have moved offices and whatnot here in the last while. So just want to make sure that your information is accurate and up to date in there. And I just wanted to show you how to add your signature. So you could have your signature go out in like your emails that are coming from zipForms. So we can take a look at that. We're going to go through, we'll kind of have that reverse a little bit. We go through creating and applying transactions, templates, and then creating a transaction using that template or templates. But today, just so we know, I'm not going to be telling you what templates you should be using. We're just going to be going through the process of creating the templates and then applying them. And then we'll go through parties / cover sheets. So those are, and that's kind of what's prompted this, because I was working with Agent, kind of a newer one, but they worked on a team with somebody else who's been around for a while, and they were going through and all their different documents, going through and typing in the buyer's name and the seller's name and their information over and over and over. And then when sent for signatures, they'd have to type in the buyer, sellers, and then the emails, and be looking up the different emails, where you could have those entered in as global information, so that it'll just populate your forms when you go to use them. So you just enter in that the party information in one spot, whether you're using the parties or cover sheets. But I wanted to show you the parties just because as well, it does virtually the same thing, except for you have one additional benefit to using parties. And if you're going to be working with like a trust or like an LLC, so those types of things, where you can actually name the party with the trust name, and then you could have a signer who's the actual person that's going to be signing, and put them in as the signer. So the name will follow through with the trust name, but then the signer will have their, be able to still sign. So I just want to show you that, which that's not available in the cover sheet. So that's kind of why I wanted to touch on both of those. Adding external docs, that's just going to be a second to show you that. That's real simple. But if there's other things you need to add in, just show you that. And then we're going to not really go through a really super in-depth discussion on eSignatures, but I'm just kind of showing you there's just a few differences with the new digital ink. They've added your ability to have somebody like a reviewer, so you can send them to somebody to kind of review your file, and take a look at it before anybody signs it. So that's like a new option that I just want to touch on. And then where it just looks a little bit different in some of the areas where you put in your signature. So I mean, I just wanted you to see it, because I'm sure, but it's still by default that digital ink, the first digital ink is still going to be active in your accounts, and you're probably still using that one, but eventually they're going to be getting rid of it. So I just want you guys just to see it and see that it's really not that different. Okay. It's basically all the same thing that you have now, maybe a couple little additional items, but really it's virtually the same. So not to be scared of it is kind of the gist of it. Okay. zipForms, there are a few different versions. We're going to be going through the transactions one right now, but there's the standard version that you could have on your desktop that syncs up when you go online, but it's not, but maybe you lost internet access or something like that. You could still go through and update those forms. And then there's the mobile version, which is going to be like an app for iPad or like a tablet or a phone. Okay, so those are all available, and they're all going to be kind of synced together. So if you use one of them, that information should update in the others. So basically, zipForms is just transactions and documents. So have your different parties, your summaries, documents, and then your checklists. So we're just kind of looking at some of that here today. And this isn't really going to be like a super, advanced level one. We're just going to kind of be going through some of the stuff that there's some basics to know. All right, so I'm going to get out of there. And then, so you guys know, just go to car.org. and then you'll have this access transactions right here. You can go do it directly as well, but this is pretty much where everybody goes. And then we have that on the resource page as well, where you can get in that way. Okay, from just without even signing into the resource page, you should be able to see that. All right, let me go. I might need to share another screen here. Give me a second. Okay. So let me move over. Whoops. All right, here we go. So you guys can see the zip form now. You should be able to see that. Let me take a sip of water. All right, so this is gonna be like your main dashboard when you come in. So it'll show you all your recent activity that you were doing, any potential sales volume that you have, active properties, transactions, those types of things, signature packets that may be in progress, things expiring, you know, quarterly sales commissions, and all those types of things will all be in here, just for you quick glance and look at when you get in. Transactions, this is gonna be all of your active transactions. So we're gonna go through this a little bit later, but we'll just skip over that. I just want to show you this doc inbox. If you guys aren't aware, this is where you have an email address where you can email in files right in here and then assign them to a transaction. So, or you can give this email out to somebody, you know, who might be, you're waiting for something on, they can just email that, you or them can email whatever you need right to that email address. It'll come right into this this doc inbox,
Wow.
and then you'll be able to then add that to your transaction. Okay. So that's
Is that new to the Lone Wolf?
Not that I'm aware
Or
of.
did I just never noticed it?
Yeah, I think maybe. Yeah, so that would be your email address up here, and then you'd be able to, yeah, just send to that, and everything should go right in here, and then you'd be able to apply it to the transactions from there. Okay. Tasks. So you can create tasks for yourself, or well, I mean, and then other tasks will be in here depending on what your your files that you're working on. But I don't have anything in there. And then templates. So this is what we're going to be touching on here. Oh no, we're going to go to the adding the information in here first. So let me kind of got ahead of my skis there. So here in your like at the top header kind of area, there's going to be where you see me and a photo if you have one in there. But the profile and settings, I just want to touch on this really fast, just because you know, I know some people's moved and whatnot. So under the offices, you just double check that everything's right. I mean, I imagine that it is, but you know, if there is an error, that's where you adjust it. In the About Me section, just mine didn't have my license number, so that was kind of why I wanted to touch on it as well, because mine just said false in there. So I had to add that in. So just to be, you know, cautious of that. And then the email signature, this section here, you can actually just copy your signature from like whatever, like if you're using Gmail or something like that, or whatever program you're using, if you just literally copy it from one of your new emails that you're, I can just go, let me try to go to it really fast, but I have to change my screen here.
You just cut and paste that from your account?
Yeah, yep. So let me get rid of that. Go to Gmail. And if we go to like compose an email, you can go to your signature area. This here, where your signature, if you just literally copy it or like highlight it and copy it, you'll be able to paste it right into your area of the, let's see now, where did my transactions go? Oh, I minimized it. Hold on one second. Oop, lost it. Sorry about that. I minimized the screen of the transaction. Oh, there it is. Okay, here we go. So now I should be able to share it. Where'd it go? Sorry. Transactions, here we go. All right, there we go. All right, so then here, I'll just get rid of this. Oops. Why isn't this? Sorry,
There you go.
it's not highlighting it. That's interesting. I'm going to close this and then try it again here. I imagine it should let you edit your signature here. I guess we just need to remove all this stuff. It's kind of weird. I never saw this before. Wonder if I could clear out all of this information. It's not letting me highlight to remove my signature.
Weird.
Yeah. It's not putting my cursor in there either.
It's 2020. Oh.
That is very weird. It did allow me just to put my cursor in and paste it in, which I don't know why it won't allow me to change it, which I'll, let me make a note of that really quick, and then I can contact Lone Wolf and maybe get an answer for that. All right, okay. So yeah, I'll find out about that because you should be able to just put your cursor, oh, there's my cursor. That's weird.
Richard, I have a question for you, since we have you on here, because I keep hearing Lone Wolf. I think I might have joined in late. So ZipLogics is still going to be ZipLogics. It's now, I thought it was going to be called Transactions. It's going to be called Lone Wolf.
Well, no, I was saying Lone Wolf, I'll contact them because they're the ones who actually own it now. So Transactions is the new name from Lone Wolf.
Okay.
Lone Wolf is the company that took over zipForms.
Okay.
And then they renamed it from zipForm to Transactions zipForm Edition.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit confusing, but Lone Wolf is like the main company that now runs it. So that's why I would reach out to them. But it looks like, I mean, I was able to get my cursor in there again. I don't know what I did, but I was able to delete it. So there is a weird wonky thing there, but you should be able to click your cursor in and paste it. Like I just repasted it again. And but then, you know, if you have a problem with it, that's the only thing. Just make sure you have your signature the way you want it when you paste it in there, okay? And then save, and then that should take care of that. But I will look into that and see why that's weird and wonky like that, where it won't let you just, see, it looks like it's putting my cursor right here, but whatever. Okay. So just so you know, that signature area is there. And then as you see here, it'll include the signature on all outbound notifications. Okay. And then in the settings, I think there was one thing that I wanted to, so this is where you could edit that signature. Like if you wanted to go to the digital link 2 and just start using that right away, you'd be able to go into the settings and then just change that. The same as if you're using DocuSign. If you do have a DocuSign account and you wanted to link it in here, you'd be able to just make that your default by going in here and then selecting DocuSign, link the account, and then you'd be able, that would be your default signature tool throughout all of your different transactions. Okay. All right, I think that's what we need here. That's the gist of it. There's more in there, but we're not going to go through all that. We're going to go back to the, let's see, where do we have? Creating a template. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, we're not really going to go into all of the documents that you need to have, you know, in here. It's more the process of setting it up. We do have like the, which if I change sharing again, I don't want to mess it up, but the checklist on the resource page. So, you know, that might be a place for you to go, or just talk to your managers about that. And, you know, about which ones, but you don't really want to go too crazy with new template because, you know, not every single transaction is going to be the same. So if you try to put in every single possible template or form in there, then, you know, you might be going overkill. But either way, let's go. We're just going to go ahead and click new. And then you're going to pick, you know, we have the ability to create a template for a new listing, a purchase, a new lease, or new lease listing. So we're going to just go, let's go start with a new listing for like, so let's just go like I had in my example, listing template. And you could do these for, if you're doing, for land or commercial or whatever, you can create all different templates. So you have all those ready to go. And the advantage of using a template would be to start off with, those core forms that you need to get going without having to go and pull them in each time. Okay. And so we're going to go through, put this residential, and then we'll select templates. So you could, if you wanted, like duplicate. So you can easily duplicate if you were going to select, if you wanted to make a different template using some of the same documents, you can just pull in those templates for as a start point. But we're going to go ahead and not do that and just create this from scratch. So what you have here is you can go to the all forms, and that'll go to your forms, or you can do the add doc, whichever works for you, and then do the all forms. And then this is where you'd be able to just pull in, what did I do? This is the listing. So one of the things I want to remember, I mentioned the cover sheet earlier. So that's something that you can pull in. And the advantage of that cover sheet, we'll take a look at it here in a minute. But that is where you can basically you can put your information in, which I'm going to show you here in a second in the template, where you can have all your the listing agent or whatever, you as the agent, whichever side you're on, pulled in automatically to each template. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel each time. But also for the cover sheet, that's something that you'd like to use, because that will also, when you put in like a buyer or the seller or whoever, all your different parties, then it's going to automatically pull that information into all your different forms throughout the transaction process. Okay. So let's go. So we wanted for, one note here. So this is a listing. So if you go to this drop down here where all, you can go to just listing, and this will just show the different listing forms. Okay. Let's just go like the residential listing agreement. What else do we want in here? There's the coronavirus stuff. I mean, like I said, I'm not here to tell you which forms to put in, but there's going to be a number of different forms that you might want to get started with, maybe an addendum in there or something like that. Get the ones that, let's see, I think we had, what did I have the other one for? Sorry, I had like a little note. The advisory, agent advisory, agency advisory, which.
Richard, what about the key safe? I mean, I know that you're not telling us what to do, but
Yeah, don't ask me about what forms to have in here. That's going to be somebody who's different than me.
Yeah.
I'll show you how to put them in, how to apply the templates, all that stuff, but what templates or what forms you're going to be putting in there, that's really not my, my skill set. Okay, so let's assume we have our forms in there that we need. One thing I wanted to mention here is we have these parties. So this is where you really don't want to use this for putting in buyer, seller, that information, because this is going to apply that to all of your different templates that you apply. Okay, so that's really not how you want to use this, but you could do like the listing agent. So this is our listing one. So you can put in your information in here. So here is, so full name, I could put in my agent ID, license number, all that information, the listing brokerage, all that stuff can go in here. And then when we save it, now all of that, for all of your listing templates, you're going to be there as the listing agent. Okay. So you're not going to have to, it's just going to make it easier for it all be filled in automatically each and every time. Okay. So, and you'd be able to do the same for that with the, if we go back to our different templates, we do it for our purchase template. You put in your same files, and same thing, you would be able to go to the parties and then put you in as the selling agent, and then you'd be able to fill all that information in as well. And now that will be applied to all of your different templates. So that way it just cuts down on, repeating that same entering in your information over and over and over and over again. So, hopefully that will speed up some time. You could also add checklists in. So if you want to do, we're in the purchase, but maybe you had listing template and you wanted to remind you once you sign, let me see here, if we do a new checklist, let's do install yard sign. Something like that, where we would just send you a reminder, task name. So it would be relative to 1 day, after, maybe 3 days, or well, I guess technically you're only supposed to have that 1 day out, right? So let's do 1 day before listing date. So you'd be able to just save that. Now you'll get a notification 1 day before listing date to remind you to put out that to get the yard sign installed. So, or you could do it in maybe 3 days. So then that gives you time to call, whatever. But, this is just the process of, so every time this new listing comes out, or you apply this template, then once these are smart forms. So and you put in that information in the transaction. So once that comes up, when it sees that it's going to be 1 day before, or however many days you set the due date to be, it will then send you a notification. So this is just a way for you to kind of, stay on top of things and, create this template once, and then that way it's going to follow through for each and every one of your transactions. Okay. Go back here. So I think it's a couple notes here. All right, so let's go to, anybody have any questions about templates? They're pretty easy. We're gonna go through like how, oh yeah, here, actually, I got a couple little notes here. So say you wanted to duplicate this, maybe like, well, you wouldn't necessarily do it for a land, but so say you wanted to make a copy of this template, and maybe you want to use this files in it, but rename it and use it for, or maybe, in what is like San Fernando, they have like certain different templates that the additional forms or whatever that you might need. And don't quote me on that, but I just remember putting those into the resource page. So maybe you will have one just for a certain particular city. So you can just duplicate, make a copy of this template, and then maybe do it for Fernando, and then that way you just be able to include other checklists. You'd be able just to add those additional documents in there. So now it has all those original documents that you started with in the other one, and then you do just re-add that new document or form in there, and then it'll save. So then that way you can just reuse, if you have the core documents you need for different style templates, you can just copy them and then, adjust them for your needs. And then, so you can create a number of different templates in here. You can have, I don't know that it's unlimited, but I imagine that you can pretty much create as many as you want. And like I said, that you can do it for, the land, commercial, multi-unit, whatever, and have all these different templates available for you. So then that way you just start off without reinventing the wheel every single time. Okay, so let's go to a transaction now really quick. So we're gonna go ahead and create a new one. And then we're gonna apply one of these templates. So let's say we're doing, okay, so this is one thing to know. You can enter in any name that you want, but what you could do also is if you put in the property address, if you notice, let me do like, see how this is starting to come up now, the different addresses are coming up. So if you do it with the address, then it will then fill in the address throughout your different forms, okay? Post the street, and then Burbank. So now we'll see that in just a second, but let's just do like residential. And then we're going to go ahead and select template here. You can now go, we're going to do our purchase template residential. And now that will apply all those forms right to this particular property template. And if we notice here now, I didn't enter in that address, but the one time in the name, and look at it, it populated it throughout the transaction here. So just to know, and you can use RPR to pull that stuff in as well, which I'm not going to show you here right now because I don't want to get sidetracked from all this stuff, but you basically just you just approve RPR connection between zipForm or transactions, whatever you want to call it, and RPR, and then from RPR you'd be able to pull in all that public property data right into the zipForm transaction. Okay.
Wow.
If you have any questions about that, I can do maybe a little tech tip video on it, because it's not it only take a few minutes, but I just want to keep moving along here. And really, if you log into both, it makes it really easy. From RPR, you just go connect my zipForm, and if you're already logged into zipForm, then it's just like a seamless connection. You just have to approve it, and then boom, you're done. So it's really easy to do. And then from RPR, if you go look up a property, it'll have like create transaction in zipForm. You just click that button, it'll come over and then create that brand new transaction, then pull in, all the assessor parcel numbers and all the public data that it has. If it has the buyer or the seller information, the owner's information, it'll pull that in. So it'll put the parties right in there. So it's a neat little tool. That's more advanced. I'm just sticking to the basic here today, but it's a neat thing to check out, and I'll do a tech tip on it as well. Okay. And just so you know, if you have a transaction that you previously created, you can apply a template. If you created a new template and you wanted to apply it to like a transaction that was already created, you can also apply a template from here. Okay. All right. So let's see. So we applied the template, started a transaction, parties and cover sheets. So that was one of the things I wanted to hit on. So we're going to come over to, let's just go to parties first. And here's one of the things that I wanted to mention. So say we have, what is this, we're doing the buyer side. So we do buyer one. So see the signing representative here? This is where you can put in like for the first name, put in the, maybe the trust or the LLC. Let's go the trust of Sam Seller. Okay, you put that in the first name, and then you put in your email, all that different information, whatever information you have for them. And then they're here now, you could put in Sam Seller as the signer. Then okay, so now that way it will all the documents will show the trust, but then it'll allow this, and then you put in email here too, them to sign it. Okay, and so it'll follow through that process nicely. Then you save, and now this is a global party. So now throughout, as buyer, anywhere where buyer one is going to be at in all of your different forms, this Sam trust of Sam Seller with the signer information will follow out throughout the whole entire transaction. So as long as you had, if you entered that in, all the information in the first time, then you shouldn't have to enter in any more information throughout the process. And I'm going to go in and put in, I think I should have, so I am going to go here. Let me just put in mine here. And then, make sure you have all this filled out properly, but I'm just going to kind of skip over it here really quick, just so we can go through and show once we get to the digital link part, it'll have me and the buyer in there. Okay. So this is where all of our documents are at. We could add additional, we have that checklist, or we could add those checklists if we wanted, notes, and then we have our history of what happened throughout the whole transaction so far. Okay, so, and you cannot edit any of the history, or even when we're at that home page in the dashboard here, like all this recent activity, this is just, it is what it is. There's no editing on any of that stuff. Even if you messed up, it doesn't, something, and you wanted to get rid of it, you can't get rid of it. It doesn't, it's just a log of all the stuff that you've done. Okay, and then that's the same here within the history of the transaction. Okay. Let me go back. So say now, so we have that, adding external docs. So if we wanted to add, I mean, this is very simple. If, you know, if you had to add some sort of additional document, which, let me see if well, give me 1 second. I'm going to go off to another screen and grab a form from the resource page really quick. Something maybe that we could upload in there. So let's do this affiliated controlled business agreement. All right, and I will come back here. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and add this document. So we're gonna go to browse. So we have add document, and we're gonna add that the affiliated controlled, what is it? I don't want to say the wrong name. Business arrangement disclosure. So I'm going to go ahead and click add doc, and then we'll browse for documents. So this way, for this add form, that's going to search like the library of forms, but this one will search our computer. And then there's additional ways if you have them in, you know, like cloud, but we're just have it on our computer since we've downloaded it from, and then I just selected it right from my computer, and now it's here. You can put a description, change the name. If you so choose, click OK, and now that's going to add that document right into our transaction here. So with the forms that are kind of built in here through the library, those forms are going to be like smart forms that will have like the signature areas kind of, it'll know exactly where all that signature information will need to be. But in like the PDF that you've uploaded, you're going to need to add those signature areas or check boxes or initials or whatever they might be in there, not automatically, but you know, like you actually need to do that. So we're going to go through that in a second, but I just want to show you a couple little things here really fast on some of these, like the smart form. Let me see if this is the right form I need to show this. I think I'm on the, oh, yeah, here. So we have this, see here, we have like all cash offer. So see how that, like now this stuff goes away, like where there, you can't fill that in anymore. So that's kind of like what I mean by like the smart form. So it knows like when you select something that now you do not need to fill out this information, okay? So it gets rid of those options for you to fill that in. All right. And then there's another area where they're smart. Let me go down here. And then we see where these car form PA. So say we were to do the probate advisory. And now we see this up top here where it says form attached. So that automatically pulled, like we didn't have that form in our transaction. But since we selected it, it automatically pulled that form in because now we're going to need to fill out that form. Okay. So that's where it kind of helps you out a little bit. But just so you know, say you accidentally click that form is going to stay in your library. It doesn't, you didn't see that it got removed. So it will, so if you click something, on accident or whatever, and it did pull the form in, whether you want to delete it out of there or not, it doesn't automatically delete it if you uncheck it. I just wanted to make that point. But you can see if we do like the trust advisory, and now it just pulled in that form as well. So it's kind of neat how it will help you out a bit with these smart forms, okay? Okay, we're doing okay on time. All right. So say, let's go back here and take a look at, so now we can see our probate advisory is in here and our trust advisory is already in here. So it just pulled that in automatically. All right. So let's take a look at, we're taking a look at this PDF that we've uploaded first in order to send for signatures, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and just click sign. And I've already changed to this digital link too, but you would see here, you are able to switch from, I set it in my settings as the default. So by default, it is the 2.0, but you'll see this 1.0. most likely, unless you changed it. And you can see that they're just different companies. Since the Lone Wolf took over and transactions by zipForms, then they have their own kind of signature tool. So they're phasing out the one that they don't own and to put in the one that they do own. So I'm assuming to cut down on the cost of it or whatever. But either way, we'll just take a look at this one with the digital link 2. So we're going to select our document and then we have next. So as we see here now, we have our buyer one and seller agent information already pulled in because we put it into that party area. Okay, so we did our template, remember, where we put ourselves as for the purchase templates, and then the selling or the listing templates, we put ourselves in as either the selling agent or the listing agent. So then that'll automatically pull in for each one of your transactions, which is very nice. So now you don't have to re-add that stuff. And then in the parties, we actually added the Sam seller for the trustee. So that automatically pulled in as well, which is very neat. And I kind of skipped over the cover sheet, but we'll do that next when we do just the regular form that we do for signatures. But it will add in maybe another buyer or something, so you can see how we can add that to the cover sheet as well. But we have, let's just say we want our 2 parties here. And we're going to go ahead. And now here's one of the new things. So this signing order has been around. You can drag and drop these, move them, change the number order. You can put, if you want these to go to both people at the exact same moment, you just put like 1-1 or 2-2, depending on which order you want them to go to. But if you want one person to send first, you have them as 1, second person 2, or if you do the same number, then they're just going to get it at the exact same time. Okay. But if you have like 1-2, number 2 is not going to get it until after 1 signs. All right. So just so you know, that is how it works. And then we have this add reviewer. So maybe you wanted to send this out to somebody to review. You'd be able to add an additional person where you can create new, put them in, put their email address. Let's just do this example here. Add sign. Close. So this one is reviewer. So maybe you might want to have that person as number 1 to look at it, and then whatever order after it. But then that would be like a reviewer. They will get to see the documents, but they will not be required to sign them. Okay, just so you know. So that's just like a new feature that they added. So I just wanted to mention it, and that's what it means is that they can look at the forms files, but they are not going to be required to sign anything. Okay, so just so you know. So maybe if you were going to sending it to you yourself and then the reviewer or whatever, you'd be able to do that like 1-1, and then that means they're going to be getting it at the exact same time, and it won't go off to the seller until after the agent signs it. All right. So let's go next now that we have that. So this is now where we have to drag in our signatures. So let's see. So our initials here. So I kind of messed up there with, I have to add a seller in, hold on. So I'm just gonna get rid of the reviewer really quick and then just add a seller in. So we have seller 1. Whoops. All right, because it won't let us put in, oops, what happened there? So add signer. All right, there we go. I don't think I even need to be a signer, but we'll just put that in for fun. All right, so now we're going to go to next. So you have to have the parties in here in order to have, and if you've done this before, you know that, in order to put the seller's initials in, I have to have a seller in here. So we see our different, our party 1, party 2, and then myself as the agent. So basically it's very simple. We just need to go to drag and drop. We need to put in initials, and we just drag that over to where we need the initial. So that was, even though Sam Seller is Sam Seller, he's the buyer. And then we're gonna go to Tom Smith, drag drop, put in those initials here. So it's very similar to what we had before, what the Digital Link 1 is. I mean, it just kind of look different, the way that, you know, it has these different boxes and whatnot. They, you know, they don't look exactly the same, but I mean, the process is going to be the same. So we will need to do a sign here. So this is Tom Smith. So this is going to be the seller. And then I think what it did though on the Digital Link 1, don't quote me on this, but I think that it automatically put the, I'm like 90% sure that it put the date in automatically, where here you have to drag the date in separately. So that's the only disadvantage.
Yes, put the date in automatically.
It does put, yeah, that's what I thought. And then sign here. So you just switch over from buyer to seller to put those in. And then date. And then brokerage firm. I'll just put myself as that. Drag drop, sign here. Okay. And then date as well. All right. So now that you have that, I mean, that's basically all it is. It's just a drag drop. I mean, and you go to the different pages from here, which is, you know, skip over, you know, zoom in if you need to, you know, I mean, it's very, if you wanted to put text in for the property address, you'd be able to do that right from here. So just little things like that you have in here. 45 Main Street. You can highlight, draw, different things like that, circle. So it just kind of gives you, oops, feature's been disabled by association. Okay, so you can't draw, but so you can kind of put a circular highlight, those kind of things. So you can like kind of put some different things in here in the markup if you wanted. Let's do this, highlight it. Yeah, so, you know, if you wanted to highlight things, you'd be able to do that. So just so you know, those are the little markup tools. And then the drag and drop is the main stuff. So, you know, there's radio button, check marks, initial, sign, additional text, and then you just switch over from the different people that you're going to be adding for their different signatures by clicking on this first section up here with their names added. Okay. We'll go to send now. So here you can customize. So this is a little bit different. Before it would just show you the what, you know, the email that was going to be going out, and then you can click in to edit it. But this gives you, you just hit send if you want to send it using the preset text. Otherwise, you can click on here and customize it. So if you want, which is neat because you can customize it for each person that you're sending to, rather than it just kind of being updating it, and then it will then go to everybody with that same information. I believe that's the way it worked on the Digital Link 1. So this, you can customize it for each different party. So we're going to just go ahead and send, and then boom, you're done. Packet was created and started. So that's pretty easy. I mean, those are kind of the main differences, but just because of the way that it looked in there. But this is, so let's just send off. Okay, I want to show you the cover sheet, and then we'll send off like the residential purchase agreement.
Richard,
Yeah.
will you get a notification after they sign it?
Yeah. 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 It will automatically come in back into here in, I believe in your, is it the, yeah, it'll automatically come back into the transaction signed, I believe, and then it'll also give it, there's another place to get it too, I believe, once we get back onto the, if we were in the main dashboard, it should show you where it had like, you know, if you remember that when we first went in, it had like packets that were outstanding packets. So it should kind of, there's going to be a few different areas where you should be able to see that. Okay, so let's update this cover sheet by adding in an additional party here. So if we see this here, we have our Sam Seller. So we put that in as a party, but this is one of the global kind of areas like parties in the cover sheet. And there's one other area that you can do it as a global, but these are the two main ones. So we have our buyer name in, and then we have, see seller one didn't save when we just put it in by putting in that seller into the signature area. It did take the email, but it didn't take their name, okay? So that's where it, you know, you'd have, if you were just doing it when you sent it out for signatures each time, it's not gonna save. And you're gonna have to type it in each and every time. But if we put in, what I put, like Tom Jones or something like that. So if we put it in here now, and now it's gonna follow us throughout the whole process. So let's do that, try that here. So we should have that saved, or wait, where's this? Need to click something else. Oh, there, okay. Here's save up top here, saved. I had to click out of that box after I put Tom Jones in to give me the save button, just so you know. Okay, so let's go back now. And I don't know that we need the seller, but what I'm going to do here is put in a buyer two for just for this process. Buyer two, and I'll put in an email address. A lot of the same emails, but it's okay. All right. Now we're going to save that. So now we'll see buyer two in there as well. So let's go back. Oh, one thing to remember too is this back button. You're going to want to use that if you're using. You don't want to use like the back button in your browser, because that back button is not. It'll just like take you all the way back, like out of potentially back to car.org. So you're going to want to just use like the green like back one here instead of the back one you might see in your browser. Okay. All right. So let's go to we'll go to eSign. Now we're going to do a new. We want to do our residential purchase agreement, and we'll go next. So this one now. So now we see our buyer two in here, where we now, like I said, once you have it either in the party or in the whatchamacallit, cover sheet, then it's going to follow you out through the whole transaction. And we see Tom Jones, we added that into the cover sheet, and that also is in here as well. So now it makes it going to speed up a lot of time for you by just using either one of those parties or the cover sheet. Okay. All right. So let's go. We're going to want buyer one, buyer two, and then myself in here. And then again, once again, you could do that reviewer if you wanted, but you could change these orders. So let's say we wanted buyer one to go first, and then buyer two. Okay. So we just could drag those using where you see the little whatever arrow sign there. Go next. Oh yeah, and just so you know, if these were going to like, you know, maybe the same person, or you know, like buyer seller, and you just wanted them to go to them at the same time, remember you could just change that to 1-1, and they'll go to like maybe husband or wife or whoever they might be at the same time to sign, if that timing doesn't matter. Okay, loading. So now this one, it should automatically pull in all of the areas that say, so that's only with the forms or the PDFs that you might upload into the system are where you need to like drag and drop all the information. Otherwise, this should pull in dynamically all of the areas that need to be signed. Okay, but you could just go through, review it. And remember, you can use like the page buttons just to scroll through if you wanted, or you could scroll through by just scrolling through. Okay. And if you wanted to move these down a little bit, you can adjust this stuff still. but by default, it's just going to pull it in and place it where it thinks it should go. All right. So now let's just say that's all correct, let's say, and then just go to send. Once again, you can customize it for each party if you wanted, or you could just go ahead and send it off. And then there it goes, sent. Very
Richard,
easy. Yeah.
Richard, I have a question. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no problem.
On the listing, on the purchase agreement, does it automatically, since it's a smart form, does this program also give you an option for 20 liquidated damages and for arbitration automatically on this new program, or
If,
no?
or to sign it,
Yes, because typically on those items, it gives you, I'm not sure if it's on all items, but I believe that specifically on those items,
they
it
need to
gives
sign
you
those additional documents.
optional. Yeah, it gives you an option to sign or not sign.
Hey guys, this is Corey, to Merit Stella, to answer your question. Yeah, it does fill out liquidated damages automatically. So you would just have to go back and just exit out of that box for liquidated damages or whatever you wanted to not have under contract. It will automatically populate like all the signatures.
Right, but now with the program that I use the Zip, I used it, ZipLogix, digital ink. My clients, I discuss with them the purchase agreement, but then they have an option at 22A and B, and then they can either opt out or sign. So does this smart form, this program still do the exact same thing? I don't make that choice for them.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
I mean, we can go take a look. Let's see. We'll just cancel this here. Cancel.
Well, I think technically they can opt out of any signature.
Okay,
I think
that was
they're
my
always
question.
to exit out and opt out. So I guess I would just,
Transfer the same.
yeah, I guess just tell them personally. Richard might know more though.
Yeah, I went on those. I do not, to be honest. With the forms, I don't do. I'm not in there as much as some other people. Like as far as those different options and whatnot. But here we can take a look. So which section? You said 22A. Marcel?
Yes, sorry, 22A and B.
Let's see what it gives us here for 22 and B. So they have, it looks like a plus minus, or
Okay.
like the check mark. So they look like an optional and not a
Yes.
like, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to confirm, because I didn't see it in the other ZipLogix. I didn't see it before except for these items.
Yeah, because this is like that, you have to do it like this initial
Yes.
here, but then that's like an opted initial.
Right. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Let's go to send again here, send invitations. Okay. So that, and then that was, if you noticed, if you had something to look at, you can just cancel it and then go back through it and then resend it, just so you know. It will cancel that packet, and then they'll have to sign the new one. But just so you know that you can go through, and if you did make a mistake or need to change something, you can go back there, cancel, and then redo it. And we just have our 2 packets in here still. We didn't have to create a whole new packet in order to send it out for signatures again. Okay. All right, that kind of covers it. We know we got like 5 minutes left, but does anybody have any additional questions about any of the things that we've gone over? I mean, there's more to it. I mean, but there's more options in here that you could play around with. But I mean, for the most part, that kind of covers the gist of it. That I hope some of those things in there will help you out that we went through. No?
Richard,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I have a question for you regarding the, at the beginning, you mentioned a form that a section I never noticed, doc in box. Would you go back to that? I'm not exactly sure what you meant by that. The doc in box.
So if we do this like documents or offers, I guess you could do too. But this email address you see up here, my inbox address. So if you or you could have people, if there's going to be forms or documents that need to go into a transaction in zipForms, you can just email that email address directly, and it'll just put those documents right in this doc inbox. So then you would be able to just apply that document or add that document to whichever transaction it needs to go into. So basically, you don't need to, if they email you the document, then you need to download it and then come back here and save it, upload it into zipForms. This way they could just send it directly, or you could send a document that needs to go in here directly to this email address that you have for yourself. And then that'll automatically put it into this transaction zipForms. And then you would be able to then just move that document from the inbox into the appropriate transaction that it needs to go into.
Oh, I see. Have we had that before, or is this something new with Lone Wolf? You know?
I mean, to be honest, I'm not sure when it came out, but I know it's been there for a while. I just never really used it. That was some new thing that I learned too, just because like a couple of months ago when I was kind of going through some of this stuff and noticed it, but I don't know if it came when but I mean, that was after it moved to transactions. I don't think that they added it once there's really not a lot has changed, or really anything too much has changed since they took over. It's just they added the different digital link thing in there, but there might've been some changes, but to be honest, I'm not sure exactly how long it's been in here, but just so you know, now you can use it and you just go in and then you just get that email address and then you just send it right to it and it'll come in here.
So what do you mean send it right to it? Oh, you mean when I get
So this email. So yeah, if you have like an attachment,
Yes.
a PDF or a form signed or whatever it might be, you could just email it directly to this email address, and then it's going to come in here, and then you can move it to the or you could select multiple, or
I
just
see.
one, and then
I
move
see.
to the transaction.
And this email is automatically created for me.
Yeah, I didn't. This
You didn't
is
create
just
that.
no. That was automatically in here when I.
Oh, okay.
went to
Thank
it.
you.
Anybody else? I can, and we just have 2 minutes left, but if you wanted to see the whatchamacallit, it's RPR thing, I can kind of show you that really quickly. Let me see here. Let me go back. So RPR is narrpr.com, and you can get to it through your when you're logging into the MLS. You'll see those, when you first log in, it goes to where all those different boxes where you select to go to ChrisNet or go to Matrix. You can select RPR. Let's hope this is my right password here. Okay. So from like all properties, because we're assuming that property is not yet, because obviously you have the where you pull it in, that information in from the MLS, right? Which is something that's already in the MLS. But say this is you're doing a new listing, and you're going to be, you're the listing agent, and instead of you typing in all that information, you can pull it in dynamically here. So let me start off here. So I think in the settings so you'll have this in your settings, you'll have like the ability to connect to zipForms, and you just have to link it. And if, like I said, if you're logged into zipForm already, and you're coming to here, it makes it easier just because then you don't have to like sign in. But otherwise, it'll pop up for you to sign in to zipForm, and then boom, you're linked. And then that's really all you need to do to get it going. You just have to approve access, which is basically you just say yes, boom, now your accounts are connected. Okay. So now that the account is connected, if you are going to all properties here, let's just go like that. Let's go here. Well, let's go here to 526 North in Burbank. Search that. We have our house here, and then we just go to zipForm transactions here. Click on that. We do start new. I already have it. Some of the transactions I use that as an example, but you do start new zipForm transaction. Then you could, it's going to be, let's say it's a listing. Hit OK. And then we can go to zipForm now. And then we should see, click here. Basically, we had to grant access to ourselves to let us in. It's coming in now. And now we have our transaction here that has our, pulled in all of our information, our parcel number, believe it has our seller's information. So Robert James, that's correct. You know, pulled in. So I mean, it pulls. You know, I mean, obviously you could go. You have to add their email and phones and stuff like that. But just by public data, it pulls in all the public data that they have on file throughout all the different tools they use to get that public data. So just, you know, it might save you some time there. I mean, instead of having to type all this stuff in and look it up, you're able to just go right from right from RPR, from that property on RPR, just click that button and it'll create that transaction for you, pull in all that public data, the seller information, whatnot, and put it in there for you and create. So I don't know. It's just a new integration that is pretty neat for some people. So that is it for me, guys. If you have any additional questions, you know, feel free to give me a call or email. But otherwise, I think we're going to be done here. I appreciate you spending your hour with me here, and thank you so much. I'm going to get going now.